Hello! Finally modeling objects are done and you want to add some colors to it. And maybe colors aren't enough and you want to add some textures to the object. And for adding texture you had to tell Blender which part of texture that you have downloaded is going to display on the object. And we call this action unwrapping. Welcome to the Atelier Graphics channel. In this channel we are going to teach you a series of softwares. Just hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon for getting a notification when we upload a video. Before unwrapping, you should imagine that your object is made of paper and you want to open it and drag it into a 2D map. So you had to add some seams to your object. UV unwrapping is a step after modeling for every object and a step before adding texture to it. So we had to add some seams on the object for unwrapping and kind of putting the faces of the object in a 2D map. Adding seams is a kind of cutting the object from the edges we have selected and putting textures on it. This is the unwrapped shape of a cube and kind of 2D map of the object. So when we add a texture, you can see these parts that we didn't add seams are kind of connected together, and these seams parts are not connected, and kind of this part of the object is unreal. So it's better to use them as little as possible we can and don't use front faces of the camera view as much you can. So after unwrapping we can add texture on that. There are so many different of unwrapping ways in Blender with different algorithms, but in this video we are going to use the main unwrapping way, and for that you have to select your object in edit mode, and with selecting edges and pressing Ctrl E you can add seams to it, or you can clear the seams with Ctrl E again. And in the end of adding seams, you had to select all of the object edges and hit U and unwrap for unwrapping the object. And now you can see the object is unwrapped and our work with this object is done for unwrapping. If you go to UV editing part of Blender in edit mode, you can see it's unwrapped, but there is a very big tip before unwrapping. Your all scale numbers in this part had to be all 1, but if you scale object you can see it change, and we had to apply the scale of the object and return these 3 numbers to 1. For applying the scale of the object, just select the object, press Ctrl A and apply a scale. If you don't apply the scales, your UV unwrapping results are going to be very messed up. Okay, I think this is enough. Let's unwrap the object. Before unwrapping the objects in the scene, I'm going to make a better scene for the camera, and I will extrude some of these faces on the object, and for that I will select the scene and go to edit mode with tab, and I will select these 3 objects and EY for extruding them along the y-axis, or we can use GY, it's better, we don't need extra faces, and GX for these 2 for creating the scene. Now we want to unwrap some objects of the scene. uh, because we want to add texture to some of these objects, so we had to unwrap these objects, but some of them don't need unwrapping because we are going to use material for them. And now we are going to unwrap these chairs and the table and the sheen and the scene. But I have deleted these three chairs because I have created them in the last videos with Alt D, but it wasn't good for unwrapping, so I deleted them and used Shift D for duplicating them. And now we are going to apply the scale of this object we want to unwrap. So if you select this object and hit N for opening this window here in the item part, you can see a scale of the objects in every axis is not 1. For z-axis is not 1, so we have to make all of these 1 to making a good unwrapping. So we hit Ctrl A and we will apply the scale of the chair. So you can see these all are 1. So we do this for all of the objects, and I have done it for all of objects here, so you can do it all yourself. And we now want to unwrap the chair. So we select the chair with S/ on numpad, we will go to local view, and with tab we will go to edit mode, and we hit 2 for going to edge select mode. And you can see some of these edges on the chair are not necessary, so we will delete them with Ctrl X for dissolve some of the extra edges. Ctrl X, we will select them and hit Ctrl X for this one. And maybe this one too. And maybe this edge and this edge, and I think that's enough. Now we want to unwrap the chair, so we kind of separate the chair in 3 parts: one the front face of the chair, and one for the legs, and one part the back of the chair. So for unwrapping, we will select these edges of the chair. It's better for adding seams to the object. It's better to use the seams where the camera don't see them. It's better for adding textures to the object. So we make Ctrl E, mark seam, this back, and this ones. Ctrl E, mark seam. We go to face select mode, we select this one, mark seam, and we will select these edges of the chair. With shift left click we can select them. In unwrapping you have to imagine the object is made of paper, and we want to kind of make it 2D. The 3D objects we make 3D objects a 2D image. Ctrl E, mark seam. Now the legs are finished, and we will go to unwrap the front part of the chair, and we use shift left click. Sorry, Control E, mark seam, and I think that's done. But let's look. Yeah, that's okay. We hit A for selecting all and U for unwrap. And in UV editing mode, you can see all the part of the chair is unwrapped. In UV editing mode, you can move the vertices of the object in the object with G, or rotate the faces with R or S for scaling this UV maps, and you can select the separate part of the chair of the object with L. You can see the connected parts will select when we hit L. When we go all on them and hit L, and the chair is done. Unwrapping the chair is done. Now we hit a slash for going to global view, and we can delete this one because we have used shift D, so we do it again. Shift D Y and shift D RZ 180 degrees, and GX for moving them along the X axis. Now we will go to unwrap this table. We hit a slash for going to local view, and we start unwrapping the table. So I think we have had, okay, these are one. So we select this part for unwrapping, Control E, mark seam, and this part too, Control E, mark seam, and it's done. We hit A, U, unwrap, and in UV editing you can see it's ready. Now we hit a slash again, and now we are going to unwrap the scene. So we can go to local view with a slash, and we kind of want to separate the floor and these two walls and this wall and this part of the scene to separate UV maps. So I will select this and this parts, and Z, holding Z for going to wireframe mode, and Control E, mark seam. This wall is done. We select these three and Control E, mark seam for unwrapping that part of the wall, and these three, Control E, mark seam, and these two for unwrapping the floor. Now we will unwrap these parts of the UV in this part of the scene, mark seam, and I think it's ready. And we hit A, U, unwrap. In UV editing mode, we had to change it, but we will do it in texture painting, adding texture part, not texture painting. And I think it's done, but we can do it for this one, but it's because it was a default cube, it has unwrapped himself, so we don't need to unwrap it, and it's done. In the next video, we are going to add texture and material to the object, and I will recommend it to you right on the screen. One of them is about what is texturing, what is PBR texture, and how we use them. And the next one is the next video about adding texture to the scene. If you find this video helpful, just hit that subscribe button and click on the bell to get a notification whenever we upload a video. Have a nice modeling and great day. Goodbye.